So I haven't done a video in a while talking about Jehovah's Witnesses or my time in the cult after I got introduced to it at age 14. There's been a lot of changes happening. Excuse my voice, I am full of cold. But I've kind of been sitting back and watching what's happening with the organisation. Starting off with the announcement that men are allowed to have beards. Next thing we know, women are allowed to wear pants, or what we in UK know as trousers. Then the next thing, apparently they can say hello to a disfellowship person when they come to a Kingdom Hall, or you can even invite a disfellowship person to a meeting. Yeah. And then there's some other things like, I think men don't have to wear a tie. It's getting ridiculous. It really is just... So one of the first things that I remember what drew me to the cult when I was 14 was when they were showing how they would never change their standards. They were really keeping themselves separate from the world. And it, at the time, it obviously impressed me. I was, very naive about what Jehovah's Witnesses were about, what their beliefs were. But I just thought, wow, despite everything, despite all the backlash and so-called persecution, they have a massive persecution complex. They still held on to their beliefs, like really, really strong on what they believe in. Surprise, surprise. So obviously I think my eyes really opened when they changed the generation teaching after, was it 2014 or just before, where they was adamant about this generation not pass until the end comes, meaning the ones that were alive in 2014, and obviously like that's gone out of the window. It's a dying organisation. It's a religion, cult, call it what you want, and it's grasping for straws. It's really desperate now, and I really don't understand how the witnesses in it can't see what's happening. Now, a lot of it will probably be cognitive dissonance, because especially if they invested all their lives into it, to admit that you were wrong must be very, very difficult. However, I do know a lot of people that I used to know who were very, very strong in their faith, in, Jehovah's Witness belief, faith. They're coming out, or they are PMOs, and they're just buying their time out until they can make an exit plan. Especially since, so I've been told, since the pandemic, people actually had time to stay at home and do proper research and read and find things out without being brainwashed every week at the meetings. Because if you're on your own at home, you've got the time and no one's visiting you. I mean, it's much easier to deconstruct. So yeah, I'm being reconnecting with quite a few people who I've known back in Latvia, UK, I haven't spoken to in decades, and they're coming out, and it's nice when somebody finds me as an inspiration of what I've achieved in the 5-6 years since I've left, and just how good life is outside of a cult. But yeah, I don't really have anything to say about the organisational changes, because I think they're just bonkers and it's just laughable. That's all I can say. It's just, honestly, it's pitiful. It really is pitiful, because seeing the governing body members doing their videos with beards on, remembering how the men, the brothers, were treated if they had a little bit of tash or a bit of stubble. Used to get told off and, ostracised. And now it's like, yeah, the government body has decided, isn't it? That's how it always starts on the videos. The governing body has decided that women can now wear trousers. And it's not like, well, here's the biblical evidence of this. Well, here's the biblical, the Bible scriptures to support this. No, it's the governing body has decided. So it's just a load of bullshit. It's just another business, a cult that's losing money, and they grasping at straws, trying to keep the members in and trying to attract other people back in. And I think there's changes on baptism around as well. Like, oh, it's just crazy. It's crazy, honestly. I wish I hadn't spent 22 years in it, but I did. And maybe my experiences, my story, will help someone not to get drawn into being a Jehovah's Witness and not to fall for the bullshit. But there we go. That's my piece of wisdom today. I'm just here chilling and thinking how bizarre the cult has become. And it's, yeah, in its last days, the last of the last of the last days.